Welcome to today's afternoon tea. We're going to be talking about why your website isn't converting and how to fix it. And today, to help us fix our websites, we've got Dave, who has lots of website design experience. And I'm going to just go straight in and ask you questions. So what are the 3 most common web design mistakes that stop websites from converting?
I'm so glad you asked this. So it's almost as though we prepped. Right, 3 things that are stopping websites converting, and we've genuinely seen this. Number 1, and this is quite general, user experience. So many people don't think about user experience. They don't think about how the user is going to experience what user experience is, how the user is going to experience the website when they hit the website. They think about design too much. They think about how pretty is it going to be. Oh, I want this all singing or dancing piece of functionality that no one's going to use on the website. But they don't consider the fact that your design might make things hard to navigate. Your design might make things hard to convert people. That fancy thing that you've got wherever it is on the website that's allowing someone to do something that they never do because you never get inquiries or conversions or engagement with it, is slowing the website down. So it's really, really slow. So UX is absolutely crucial. And like I said, people just don't think about it. You go to, I used to work with big businesses. We don't as much now, kind of SMEs more so, up to 10, 20 mil is kind of our max. But you used to work with some big companies and they will have a team dedicated to UX. That's it. That's all they deal with. You know, how is the website performing? How can it perform better? How can we make our customers and visitors' life easier?
Yeah, when they're using the website.
When they're using the website.
Yeah. So they can get what they need as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
Without any barriers.
And user experience for me comes down to simplicity. You look at the way Apple, you've been on the Apple website. I mean, I never go on the Apple website because I always just buy Apple products from like Amazon or something like that. But even Amazon, how easy is Amazon to use?
Yeah.
Like so easy. You look at the Apple website, and I say the Apple website because it is so clean and so fresh, and there's so much white space. It's image, text, call to action, image, text, call to action. So much white space. They just simplified everything. I mean, the iPhone as a whole, I know you're an Android user, but the experience of an iPhone as a whole is all about simplicity,
right, okay.
And about the user experience. And you almost can't really go wrong with it. And that's how you should regard your website. If you look at your website and think it's not simple enough, it's too busy, then I think you need to do something about user experience. So the first one for me is UX. The second one is call to actions. And again, we've seen this. Everything I talk to you about today is, I don't know whether to look at you or look at you. Everything.
I've got to put the transcript in this later. So
okay,
put that
cool.
bit in. I don't know whether to look at you.
Miss this bit out. I could just put some I could say like banana ramen. That would have to go in the transcript.
Yes.
Oh well, I won't say banana ramen. So everything I say today is all from experience. We've seen it happen on websites and we've helped improve it on websites. And the second one's call to actions. We've dealt with countless amount of websites where call to actions is the issue, whether it's not having call to actions clear and regular enough in the right places. Clarity is key. There's loads, and we're going to show a website later if we've got time. There's so many websites I see where buttons almost merge into the background imagery. And it's like, how are people supposed to see that really quickly and clearly? Clarity on call to actions is key as well. Making sure it goes to the right place. Have you got too many different call to actions? Is it relevant to that particular section on the website?
Right.
There's so many different things that come into play when it comes to call to actions. And there was a website, I won't say who, 3 years ago, where we transformed their call to actions. They were using a different service as well on the website. I won't say what. They get a lot of inquiries by that. It cost them a lot of money. We came in and we said, right, we think we should overhaul your call to actions. How are people engaging with you? And we brought down the engagement on this one app, so it cost them a lot less. And in turn, we massively increased, I think, by 2/3.
Right. Okay.
The amount of conversions coming through that key call to action, which was a live form on their website. So they converted more people for less money. It's as simple as that. So we've seen this kind of happen. So call to actions is another key one as well. The third thing is the realization that different people want different things. Different people want to get in touch with you in different ways.
Mhm.
And it's allowing that to happen. So you will have people who are happy to and are only in a position to click a button and fill a form in.
Mhm.
And they're happy waiting 24,
Yeah.
48 hours.
Okay.
You have some people that want that instant response.
Mhm.
But they don't want to speak to anyone. They want to talk via live chat.
Right. Okay.
So have you got live chat available on the website? And by the way, all of these things I say, they change dependent on the type of organization that you're running.
Yeah. So some e-commerce stuff would not be suitable for service-based.
So e-com stuff, typically people want instant responses.
Yeah.
So you want to provide live chat, even if it's chatbot automated. You maybe want to provide a phone number, especially if it's B2B. If it's B2C, let's say, for example, I know we have a solicitors in the room. Let's say it's legal. You have consumers who, with legal, stuff is generally quite personal. Do you think about family? Let's say, for example, you and me are married. I want to divorce you. This is purely hypothetical. Simon will not be happy. I want to divorce you, but I don't want you to know
Yeah. Okay.
yet.
Right.
So I don't want to make a phone call when I'm at home. I haven't got any other time to. So I need to be a bit more discreet. So the contact form is better for that.
Yeah. Okay.
So provide people with different options. In some instances, even having the email option on there is good as well. But certainly a phone number, make sure it's visible. The call to action through to a contact form, make sure it's the contact form is not too difficult to fill in, doesn't ask for too much information, gives enough information to you as a business so that you can kind of almost service that lead. But make sure there's live chat available there as well, and make sure it's manned. There's great things like, so two of the best live chats that I know, one of them for WordPress is Tidio, Tidio, very lightweight, probably one of the most lightweight chatbots or live chat systems out there. So it doesn't slow the website down too much. You can set up chatbots or you can just respond.
Yeah.
And actually you can do it from your phone as well. You do it from your phone. Just in case you don't know what a phone is. Or Moneypenny is great. Moneypenny is a live chat system, but the great thing with Moneypenny is when they onboard you, they basically take over on the live chat. So it's great for businesses who haven't got people to man the live chat, and it can be manned 24/7. So Moneypenny is great for that as well. So 3 things: UX, call to actions, and acknowledging that people might want to convert differently.
Thank you. So if someone, with those in mind, if someone could only change one thing on their homepage to improve conversions, what would it be? One thing.
There's a few things I could say, but in terms of one thing, I would say make it as easy as possible for someone to do what you want them to do.
Okay.
And I think when you're redesigning a website, or even if you've got an existing website, everyone in the room has an existing website. I would hope so. You could do this as a bit of a project. Have a look at the website and think, right, what do we want people to do when they hit our website? And it might be just one thing you want them to get in touch. It might be that there's 2 or 3 things you want them to do because you are acknowledging the fact that different people are visiting your website for different reasons.
Yeah, like if they're at different stages of the buyer journey.
Exactly.
Some of them are researching something and some of them have got the intent to buy straight away.
Absolutely spot on. Someone might just want a question answered.
Yeah.
So where was I? Lost my trail of thought. Make it as easy as possible for people to take action. Go through that process of working out what do you want your customers to do. Now, if I was looking at, again, let's take legal as an example, because I said, I know we've got people in the room that run legal practices, we're involved in legal practices. I would say that number 1, you want people to take action. You want people to get in touch, make a lead. So make sure that you have those forms of call to action in place. Phone number, live chat, possibly email. I probably wouldn't go with that, but a form, contact form. 3 calls to action. You might also have people visiting the website who are looking to very early on in their buying journey just find out more about you. Appointing a solicitor, it's not kind of an off the cuff thing typically.
People do a lot of research.
Exactly. When we get divorced, hypothetically, I might be looking for the right solicitor first, and I might be looking at, okay, what's the process?
Yeah. Okay.
What's the process I go through? What are the lead times involved?
Yeah.
What are the costs? Make sure people have easy access to that. So if you're a legal firm and you carry out a number of different services, you might want to direct people through for you and for your business.
And you want all of that clearly on the homepage.
Yes.
For them to be able to go down the path that you want them to go down.
You want people to go down that path straight away, and it needs to be accessible on all devices. So you don't want it to, the moment you hit a mobile, the buttons go straight down the page. No, it needs to be visible, what we call above the fold before they scroll. So they might be looking at that. And you might have another type of business who might be looking for the educational side. They might want a question answered. How easy are you serving that? Well, you could also argue that if they're looking for a question to be answered, they're probably searching for that question, either via ChatGPT or on Google, and you want your answer to be served quite quickly. So that's a little bit different, because you don't necessarily need to display that really high on the page, because there's so many different questions that can be asked. But that kind of comes down to search generally. But you might have people go through to, let's say, your family law page, and once they're browsing through the family law page, they might have a question. In which case, are you serving those questions, or most common questions, frequently asked questions, on that page? So make sure you're answering, make sure you're directing people to the stuff you know they want to see as quickly as possible, to get them converted in whatever, I say engaged in whatever way possible.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of mobile, websites obviously should be mobile optimized, but what actually is the importance of that? Like why does that work for lead generation? Why is it important for lead generation?
I mean, mobile's crucial for lead generation. There's a concept now that websites should be designed mobile first. I don't necessarily solely agree with that. All platforms should be considered. We design stuff that's 3-stage responsive, so typically desktop, tablet, mobile. However, there's different sizes of desktop screen. Because the smaller you go down, you've got to make considerations for that, for what we call breakpoints. So I don't like to talk about mobile first, because your website should be as user-friendly across all 3 devices. You know, we used to think about desktop and not tablet or mobile because it didn't exist in that kind of way. And now everyone's mobile first, mobile first. No, it should be mobile as well. As well as. Now, the priority, if you're going to prioritize, should be on the type of platform or device that you're getting most traffic. So not every business, surprisingly enough, gets more traffic on mobile. We've seen some businesses where 80% of the traffic is mobile.
Do you think that's particularly true for B2B?
B2B, I say, is a lot more desktop.
Yeah, because they're basically probably going to be looking for stuff on their desktop at work rather than on their phone.
So if I'm looking for, like I say, if I'm looking for business stuff on, we're looking for a new telecoms company, for example, I typically look on my desktop as opposed to, or my laptop, as opposed to my mobile. So you tend to see, and it's not always the case, but you tend to see more mobile stuff disappears a little bit when it comes to B2B. You'll still have stuff on mobile, which is why it shouldn't be mobile first. It should be mobile friendly. Consideration should be made for all 3 platforms and separately, because for example, we've put together some wireframes for a website recently, and we had to make huge considerations, taking into account all of these kind of 3 stages of contact, the journey we wanted people to go, the customer to go on when they hit the website. We had a lot of stuff on there. We needed to simplify it and make sure it wasn't too much, which is really important and quite difficult at times. But also, you want to make sure that is perfectly aligned, perfectly visible on mobile, because you've got much smaller space. But you also need to make sure it's not too washed out on desktop. So you've got to make considerations for all.
So why is it so important for lead conversions? Why is a good mobile experience good for lead conversions?
If most of, so come back to what I was saying, if most of your traffic is on mobile, or if some of your traffic is on mobile and it converts well, mobile is really important, because or making sure stuff is shown correctly on mobile, because you've got a much smaller space. You haven't got as much space to capture their attention, and you've probably got as much stuff to get in there. So you've got to make sure it's laid out correctly. You've got to make sure that the key stuff is above the fold, which is when you start scrolling, the bottom of that is the fold. So I would say it's almost, you could argue it's more important on mobile because there's more considerations to be made.
Okay.
But again, like I say, it's as important on desktop and tablet as well, because you risk stuff getting washed out, looking too small. Considerations need to be made for all.
Cool.
And that mind.
So we've got 4 minutes left. Do you want to do a very quick visual comparison of the two websites?
Yes. Okay, cool. I can do that. Right. Let me just jump onto this. So these are, do you want to just briefly explain it? Yeah. I'll just briefly explain it. What we're trying to do here.
So we've got two websites here. I found one as the first result for Northampton Podiatrist on Google. That's the search term I used. And then the second one is on the last result on the third page.
Cool. Okay. So really quickly, the first thing I'm going to discuss here is why is one number one on Google? And this is what it all comes down to be fair. Why is one number one on Google? Why is one tucked into page 3? Well, it doesn't take a genius to learn which one's number one on Google and which one's page 3. This one's page 3. This one's number one on Google. Have we come across these guys before? No? Okay, totally random. Didn't know if they're in the room. So first and foremost, this is, I mean, you look at this straight away and you can see it's just on the surface, it's a much better experience than this one. I would hit this website and I wouldn't even think, is this a podiatrist? Apart from seeing there. Because it's very clunky, blocky, there's no imagery, it just looks all over the shop, to be honest. You know, we could go through to one of the pages, again, the same advice.
Trust factor here.
Yeah, it almost looks a bit spammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought when I found it.
Obviously we don't know whether they still exist. See, it's got 2025 down here. So trust factor is huge. It's absolutely huge. If you think about when you go and buy a product, what do you look for? I look for the reviews straight away. So trust factor is huge, but it comes in many different forms. It also comes kind of in kind of a sense of perception. And if I was to look at this website, I'm going to trust this far more than this. I'm not going to buy through this. I'm going to think I'm going to get scammed. Through this, I've got, you know, there's a massive trust factor. However, what I do want to clarify is this isn't perfect either. I talked about earlier about buttons and making sure call to actions are clear. You look at this one here, the book now, totally washed out.
Yeah.
That needs to be more clear. You'd be, given the fact that the brand colors are blue and white, you'd think blue background, white text, maybe with a curved edge, so it's quite soft. I'm almost thinking the curved edge could be like the sole of the foot.
Yeah. Yes, because there's loads of feet on the screen.
We love feet here. So there's more that can be done about here, but I'm not going to delve into this in detail because we've only got a minute left. But this website, you can see straight off, you know, there's more call to actions, there's more content, it's more to the point. It's got, okay, it's not designed as nicely as it could be. It's got the treatments, it's got, you know, spell practice wrong. It's nice and colourful. It serves a much better user experience, despite it actually not serving the best user experience. We could totally transform this. You look at this and it's pretty bad, actually. When you gave me this example, I did think, I'm just glad there aren't feet on screen. But it is really bad because there's no experience here whatsoever. There isn't. And in fact, you look at the button, which is in a sense, it's a better button because it's more visible, but it's grey, almost just above a grey background, and the text is blue.
Very difficult to see.
It's very difficult to see.
And hard for the trust. So the trust factor is important in in converting.
Yeah.
If people go on your website and think this looks real dodge, then they're going to go for this. Is probably why the other one is, even though it's built slightly better, it's built better. Still not ideal, but it's the top result on Google because probably more people find it trustworthy to go on and they click on it and they use it.
Quite possibly. I mean, there'll be a number of reasons why it's first on Google. But yeah, one more thing before we leave. Contact down here, having the menu go on to 2 lines. That's like criminal. Right, let's stop sharing.
So the next one we're having a break on annual leave for a week. So for the next one, so I'm going to do a bit of a dive into communicating your brand and vision effectively through your website. So more than a logo, how to communicate your brand over your website. And I'm going to have another guest, and this time it's going to be Tom. So join me next week. No, on the 11th of June, not next week, the 11th of June.
Is that because I've been banned?
I might let you back. I might let you back. Thank you very much
Cool.
for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon.